You know the present tense, you know the past tense, you know articles, prepositions, and sentence structures. You may even notice and correct other people's grammatical mistakes. But the moment someone asks you a question in English, you freeze. Your mind searches for the correct tense, then it checks the grammar, then it tries to find the perfect word. And before you can finally construct the perfect sentence, the conversation has already moved on. Has this ever happened to you? If it has, you may have wondered, I have studied English grammar for so many years. Why am I still unable to speak fluently? The answer is simple. Knowing grammar and speaking fluently are two different skills. Grammar gives you the rules of the language, but fluency develops only when your brain learns to use those rules quickly and naturally. Think about driving a car. You can read every book about driving. You can learn what the accelerator, brake, and clutch do. You can even explain all the traffic rules perfectly. But does that knowledge automatically make you a confident driver? No. You become confident only when you sit in the driver's seat and practice. English works in exactly the same way. Grammar teaches you how English works. Speaking practice teaches your brain how to use English in a real conversation. In today's podcast, we are going to understand why grammar knowledge alone cannot make you fluent and the practical steps that can help you turn your English knowledge into confident speech. Let us first understand the difference between knowing English and using English. When you study grammar, you develop what we can call passive knowledge. You may recognize the correct sentence when you read it. For example, she has been working here for 5 years. You may understand why we use has been working. You may even be able to explain the rule. But during a real conversation, nobody gives you several minutes to remember that rule. You have to listen, understand, think, and respond, all within a few seconds. That requires active skill. An active skill develops only through active practice. This is why you may score well in a grammar test but still struggle to answer a simple question like, what did you do during the weekend? The problem is not that you do not know English. The problem is that your English knowledge has not yet become automatic. Think about a child learning to walk. The child does not study the position of every muscle before taking a step. The child tries, loses balance, falls, gets up, and tries again. After enough practice, walking becomes automatic. Speaking English also needs this kind of repetition. You have to use familiar words and sentence patterns so many times that your brain no longer needs to construct every sentence from the beginning. Why grammar can sometimes slow you down? Grammar itself is not the problem. Grammar is important because it helps you communicate clearly. The problem begins when you try to check every grammar rule while you are speaking. Imagine someone asks you, how was your day? Instead of answering naturally, your mind starts having an internal discussion. Should I use the simple past? Is this sentence grammatically correct? Should I say I went or I had gone? Is there a better word? While your brain is busy checking everything, you become silent. Then you feel nervous because the other person is waiting. This nervousness makes it even more difficult to remember words. Finally, you either give a very short answer or avoid speaking completely. You may simply say it was good, even though you know enough English to say much more. This is how overthinking creates a fluency block. You are trying to edit the sentence before you have even spoken it. But speaking is not the same way as writing. When you write, you can pause, correct a sentence, and choose a better word. In a conversation, your first goal is to communicate your message. It does not need to be perfect, it needs to be clear. Fluency does not mean speaking without mistakes. Many learners believe that fluent speakers never make grammatical mistakes. That is not true. Even native speakers sometimes use incomplete sentences, change their words halfway through, or make small mistakes. Fluency does not mean speaking perfect English every second. Fluency means being able to express your ideas without stopping after every few words. It means continuing the conversation even when you cannot remember the perfect expression. For example, imagine that you forgot the word umbrella. You could stop speaking and feel embarrassed. Or you could say, the thing we use when it rains. The second sentence may not be the most direct answer, but you have communicated successfully. That is an important fluency skill. A fluent speaker does not always know every word. A fluent speaker knows how to continue. The fear of making mistakes. For many learners, grammar is connected to fear. Perhaps you were corrected in front of your classmates when you were younger. Perhaps someone laughed at your pronunciation. Or maybe you believe that people would judge your intelligence if you make a mistake. Because of this fear, you try to protect yourself by speaking only when you are completely sure. But in a real conversation, you may never feel completely sure. So you remain silent. And every time you avoid speaking, your brain receives the same message. Speaking English is dangerous. Speaking English is dangerous. But every time you speak, even with a few mistakes, your brain learns something new. I can express myself, I can handle this conversation. Confidence does not come before speaking. Confidence grows because you speak repeatedly. Step 1. Stop building perfect sentence. The first practical step is to stop waiting for the perfect sentence. Begin with a simple sentence, then add more information. Suppose someone asks, "What do you do in your free time?" You do not need to create an impressive answer immediately. Start with, "I enjoy watching movies." Then add a reason. "I enjoy watching movies because they help me relax." Then add an example. "I usually watch mystery or motivational movies during the weekend." You have now given a clear and interesting answer using simple English. This is much better than remaining silent while searching for advanced vocabulary. Remember, simple English spoken confidently is more powerful than complicated English that never leaves your mind. Step 2. Learn sentence patterns, not just grammar rules. Instead of memorizing individual words and grammar definitions, practice complete sentence patterns. For example, I usually, I used to. One of the reason is, in my opinion, the main problem is, if I had the opportunity, I would. These patterns give your brain a ready made structure. You only need to add your ideas. Take the pattern. One of the reason is, the main problem is, in my opinion. You can say, one of the reasons I'm learning English is to improve my career. One of the reasons I enjoy walking is that it clears my mind. One of the reasons I felt nervous was that I was not prepared. One pattern can help you express many different ideas. The more often you use these patterns aloud, the faster they will come to your mind during a real conversation. Step 3. Practice speaking in small situations. You do not need to begin with a 20-minute speech. Start with 1 minute. Choose a simple topic such as my morning routine, a skill I want to learn, a person who inspires me. Speak about it for 1 minute without stopping. If you make a mistake, do not restart the entire sentence. Correct it quickly if necessary and continue. For example, I went to the market. Then continue with your message. This teaches your brain that a mistake does not have to end the conversation. You can also practice English while doing ordinary activities. While cooking, describe what you are doing. I'm cutting the vegetables. Now I'm adding some spices. I need to cook this for another 5 minutes. While cleaning, talk about your surroundings. This room looks untidy. I'm going to organize the shelf first. These books belong in the other room. This may feel strange at first, but it is one of the easiest ways to turn passive vocabulary into active vocabulary. Step 4. Use the same grammar in real speech. When you learn a grammar point, do not stop after completing written exercises. Use it to speak about your own life. If you are learning the present perfect tense, make sentences that are personally meaningful. I have lived in this city for 10 years. I have recently started exercising. I have never traveled alone. Then turn those sentences into a short conversation. Ask yourself, how long have you lived here? What new habit have you started recently? Have you ever traveled alone? Answer the questions aloud. Now, grammar is no longer only a rule in a textbook. It has become a tool for expressing your experiences. Step 5. Repeat before you expect fluency. Many learners practice a sentence once and expect to use it naturally forever. But the brain needs repetition. Think about a song you know very well. You do not struggle to remember every word because you have heard it many times. Useful English expressions can become equally natural when you hear and speak them repeatedly. This is why shadowing is so effective. Choose a short piece of natural English. Listen to one sentence, pause the audio, repeat the sentence with the same rhythm, stress, and emotion. Then say it again without the audio. Finally, change one part to make it personal. For example, you hear, I was nervous at first, but I gradually became more confident. You repeat it, then you personalize it. I was nervous during my first presentation, but I gradually became more confident. You are not only copying sounds, you are training your brain to produce complete English sentence automatically. You are training your brain to produce complete English sentences automatically. A simple daily fluency routine. Here is a 10-minute routine that you can follow every day. For the first 2 minutes, listen to a short English clip. For the next 3 minutes, shadow a few useful sentences from it. Then choose one simple topic and speak about it for 3 minutes. During the final 2 minutes, listen to your recording and notice one thing you did well and one thing you want to improve. Do not search for every small mistake. Choose only one area at a time. Perhaps today you will focus on using the past tense. Tomorrow, you may focus on reducing long pauses. This makes improvement manageable. If you follow this routine consistently, you will notice that familiar sentence patterns begin to appear more quickly. You will spend less time translating. You will hesitate less. More importantly, speaking English will begin to feel like a normal activity instead of a test. Speaking English will begin to feel like a normal activity instead of a test. Let us practice together. Before we finish, let us practice together. Okay? I'm going to give you one question. What is one skill you want to improve and why? Do not search for an advanced answer. Use this simple structure now. The skill I want to improve is I want to improve it because one step I'm taking is you have to use this simple structure. Here is my example. The skill I want to improve is storytelling. I want to improve it because stories help people understand ideas more easily. One step I'm taking is practicing a short story every day. Now, pause this podcast and give your answer aloud. Do not prepare it silently. Speak. Even if you hesitate, even if the sentence is not perfect, because every time you speak, you are teaching your brain to use the English you already know. Now, coming to the conclusion, grammar is valuable. It gives structure to your language and helps you express your ideas clearly. But grammar knowledge alone cannot create fluency. For that, you need to speak, you need to repeat useful sentence patterns. You need to make mistakes, correct them, and continue. You need to use English in small, real, and meaningful situations. Do not wait until your English becomes perfect before you start speaking. Speaking is the process that will make your English better. So, the next time someone asks you a question in English, do not search for the perfect answer. Start with the simple one, express your idea, add one more detail, and keep going. Your goal is not to impress people with perfect grammar. Your goal is to connect, communicate, and become a little more confident every day. Bye bye.